Go ahead and start the show.
Oh,
That's
start the
that's
show.
the raw stuff.
All right, start the show.
TakeTones.com. TakeTones.com.
This is Title Lord, and
Two Winters,
this is going to be called today.
talking shit with TNT,
I don't
as
fuck
always.
always. All right. So what's up, Tuesday? How everything going with you today on this Tuesday? Ha.
It's going. That's all I can say.
I feel you.
Been busy.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. Had some things going on too. So, just been maybe an interesting week. Who knows what's going to happen? The trial's over. The verdict can ready come out tomorrow by the end of the week. Let's see if this country going to be on fire by Saturday. We want to see. The cop in Minnesota has been. The trial's almost over. The jury is in deliberation. So I wonder how this is going to go.
Well, I know they can do him just like they did that boy where everybody came outside. It was ready to meet him outside.
Oh yeah, I remember that the soldier from South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They were ready for him. He did not come outside either.
I know he didn't.
That was ridiculous though. I felt sorry for the young man because he was nervous.
Is what it is.
It is. It is. Oh man. Well, yeah, this has been really interesting though. In the past, ever since this George Floyd case happened, within the past 2 or 3 weeks, we have seen cops harassing, people getting harassed by normal citizens. He was a drill sergeant. Um, Young boy in Chicago, Latino boy got killed. With his hands up in Chicago, talking about he was reaching for a gun. No, this has been a really really crazy couple of weeks when it comes down to police violence. It's like it ramped up with this trial coming along. I don't know. It's crazy. Shoot. You know, hopefully, hopefully everything gets itself resolved with that. You know what I mean? And I had a whole topic to talk about, and I forgot all about it. See, I need to write this shit down.
Well,
so what's good with you?
um, just trying to get this and other things up to par to legitimacy. Because as you know, it's all good and Danny to have a show. We probably could take y'all on this journey with us.
Yeah.
America, as Bernie Mac would say. But yeah, trying to get this to be an actual business. There's some things you got to do in order to get that worked out. So trying to get that aspect of it is a different entity. So like this is the fun part. This is the part that everybody sees and all that. There's some other things that are behind the scenes that you got to get done. And it ain't easy. I just put it that way.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Even the setup, I'll be honest. I remember when we first did our first show on the couch in my living room, and it was just like it was just so cool to get it started. But getting everything together, getting the schedules together, getting the right equipment, and still trying to get everything and get people to look at it and do the algorithm. All that is kind of like a little bit not stressful because I'm enjoying the journey, but you also got to deal with like your own family, your own life situations and stuff like that. So it can be difficult in the background, but I feel like with me, I feel like we work hard at our job that we work for somebody else to get millions of dollars for. And not to say
Hmm.
I won't get millions of dollars doing this. I'm just saying we work hard for somebody else to be rich, and we don't really put no investment into ourselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the biggest. If we learned anything from 2020, is to invest in ourselves and find
Right.
what we're good at and find our niche. Because as we learn, these jobs can go away tomorrow, and we be stuck hustling. You know what I mean? Trying to figure out what the hell they do. That's why you got like 50 million OnlyFans pages.
True and true.
It's crazy. I was just talking to my peoples today, and they in Colorado. I was like, you know, I don't know where it came from, but I was talking about OnlyFans. She's like, oh, I need to start my page. I said, you got OnlyFans page? What? She was like, yeah, I got OnlyFans page. I was like, wow. And me and her about the same age, but it is what it is. She trying to get a little thing. Wow, I need to put some pictures up myself. I'm like, damn. But I guess it's a good hustle. You know what I mean? I I I know some people who do it. They make pretty good money. But I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that too?
I need a little extra aspect. So, because I'm using something that doesn't work very well. Like my computer's volume is very low, and I think it's on my. Let me see what it's on. I think this just attached to my phone,
Okay.
which I don't want it to. But bear with me one moment. Let's see what they're
No
doing.
worries. No worries. No worries.
Um, leaning towards so I can hear.
And that's part of the thing too. Nobody really know about the technical difficulties you have in your house trying to get everything set up and all that. And
Exactly.
working with this stuff. You know what I mean? But I realized though, like how many people do you know that started their own business during this time?
Um, start during this time. Four,
Or
four that I know of. Well, five,
mm-hmm.
six, six,
Yeah, I know at least three.
seven.
Yeah, we're just going up and up and up. I
Yeah,
know.
once I think about who started at what time, because my cousin and her husband, they have a business together, Jason's Tea and Coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and they started before
Yeah,
COVID.
I remember you showing me that.
Yeah. So and but they continue to thrive
Mhm.
during COVID, you know. So I mean, that's the that's a blessing. That's a plus.
See, but they had their own revenue coming in before COVID, so it was like
Right.
they could depend on themselves and their own hustle. Like my cousin, he was working for the government of all places, and he got laid off. And he said he could have just transferred to another department, but now he get into real estate and doing notaries and um trying to start his own business doing that. And his wife was
Mhm.
already making cakes before they got laid off, and she's awesome cake. I would suggest her. Sharita Watt. She lives in New Jersey. If you want to get cooked cake and you're from Jersey, hit her up. South Jersey, Westville. Anyway, um, Sharita's pretty good with making the cakes and stuff like that. So, they started that off. I got friends who made man bags. I know it's something else. I know, she calls it something else, but it's like an overnight bag for men. Like if you're going out, and you have an overnight bag. Say if you're going out and you may meet that a special person or a special nighter. You got yourself a bag. It comes with clean toiletries and cologne and um I think it comes yeah it comes toiletry cologne. Um, it should come with condoms, but I digress. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things that you use to go out with. So I mean, I just noticed that people are really trying to look deep into themselves to find stuff that they can do.
Hmm. Well, that sounds like a perfectly good idea.
Oh no, I thought it was an awesome idea when she told me she was going to do it, and the fact that she went along and kept on doing it, and you know, what I mean, and it's like it got like little, personal soaps and shit. I thought that was a good idea, but I just noticed that it brings out the entrepreneurship in people. Well, and there's a lot of things that I feel like Black people been doing anyway to get through things that are had reappeared in a big way since COVID started. Um, I remember growing up, we always did dinner plates. So not me personally, but I always had somebody in my family doing dinner plates. How many motherfuckers do dinner plates now still?
Doing what?
Dinner plates.
Like the food plates?
Yeah.
Now my aunt,
Yeah. People been doing that, cakes and stuff like that. You
my
know,
mom does cakes all the time. So
I'm just saying, like, people are starting to do that more. Last year, my homegirl did her brownies A1. She ain't with the person no more though. I'm kind of mad about that because those shits were they were like
I would want to do that, but I'd have to be a little um selective of my
tell.
yes.
There was this one girl, she had a whole website and stuff like that. And she didn't say it, but you kind of knew by what she had marked down as a star. I
Hmm.
went back on there and it looked like she was shut down.
Exactly. That's why I'd be select. I wouldn't even publicize it like that. I would just be selective. I know people that want it, so
Mm-hmm.
I would just be selective of those people um to be as my clientele, and me because hey,
Mm-hmm. You can't get high on your own supply though.
yes I can. I own my supply, so yes I can.
Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be money maker. That's not money making getting high on your own supply.
Oh, I'm not trying. That wouldn't be that to me. That wouldn't be the money maker
That's your cut.
because that would be the under the table.
Okay. Oh,
That and my CMOS would be under the table. Now, I have a legit business. So um that one would, that would be separate from that entity. It's kind of like if you have a regular job and then
a hustle.
you're right. That would be my hustle job. But I would have like I have my legit business.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
That's
everybody does everything they need to do to make ends meet. I was in a community group, and somebody laughed at my comment that I made that everybody's got to do what they got to do. So don't get mad at these people that are collecting their unemployment. Don't get mad at them because that's their money. Don't get mad at them because they're collecting their money at
yeah.
this time and they don't want to work. Hey, if you're making more money collecting your unemployment than working, who am I to tell you? That's a blessed hustle right there because you don't have to work. That gives you up time to figure out what you might want to do for yourself. This person they were on there complaining. Nobody wants to work. I can't get any help. They are shutting down businesses. Well, okay, cook your own food because you don't have to go to Bojangles. You don't have to go to McDonald's. You can cook your own food. Plus, that stuff is not good for you anyway.
Well,
So,
see, the problem is one of the biggest problems is, and I can tell you this from moving down here from up north, is just things have gotten very high, especially down here, and the money that they're trying to give you, you know, that they're trying to give you at these places does not suffice on getting a one bedroom apartment now. I think right now, what a one bedroom apartment, even around here, you gotta look hard to find a good deal on a one bedroom apartment. But on average, it's like what $700.
mm,
Yeah, I mean, really, like you're gonna make $700. You can afford $700 a week, a month in a rent. plus utilities, which is fucking sky high. And then you got, I mean, shit, you live in the country, so you need a fucking car. All that shit on driving is a privilege. My ass, it's a fucking right now. Shit, you can't fucking do nothing without a car nowadays. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's nonsense. When I read that driving is a privilege. Fuck you. I need my car. Shit, I can't fucking. I can't. I need to go to work. I can't go to work without no damn car. You know what I mean? What taxi, Ubers cost $50 to get there and back. Fuck all that. You know, like the rent in Charlotte, a fucking house in Charlotte used to cost about $500. Now you get a house in Charlotte like 2,000. You know what I mean? A month for rent. Like that's ridiculous. Like that's and they don't want to pay you no more than $10 an hour. You get what I mean?
Mm.
And that's the problem. Like if you're gonna raise the rent up, if you're gonna raise rent, you gotta at least raise it to where people can actually pay the shit. It don't make no sense to raise rent all the way up to fucking $20 an hour, $2,000, $1,600 for a house, and people can't even afford to go in there. I ain't even talking about the nice area. I'm talking about the ghetto, the hood. Like, come on, man, gotta do better. And then you complain about somebody on unemployment. You just mad because you ain't on unemployment. You're not getting the money. Shit, I congratulate anybody who do it. It give you enough time to get your hustle on. It give you enough time to find out what the fuck you really want to do. You can pay your bills and figure out. You know what? I really don't want to work at McDonald's. I want to do something more constructive with my life.
Exactly.
You want some IT work. You know what I mean? Maybe I go to school to do this. Maybe I go to school to do that. You know what I mean? Maybe I can improve myself during this time of tragedy right now. You know what I mean? Instead of complaining, find out what the fuck your niche is and stop worrying about who's going to serve you at fucking McDonald's. Were they light skinned people?
Who? Those complaining?
Yeah.
Light? You mean white skin?
Yes.
Yeah, they were the other. They weren't a brother.
Why do they always complain about shit like that though? That's always
because they want to do it themselves, but they've been taught and raised that you got to work for a living and you can't do anything. You have to think like a lamb or a sheep and do whatever everybody else is doing. That's why. That's the only other preface, because you can't possibly think for yourself and think that, oh my gosh, they're getting free money, their own money that they have already put into the system so they can get out. They're getting free money. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. They don't want to work and I can't get my chicken. Okay, but you can go buy your chicken from the little place up there, the poultry, and cook your own chicken.
Yeah.
But you don't know how to use the seasoning right. I bet that's what the problem is.
And a lot of times I feel like when it comes to that type of person, they're the worst person that you have to deal with in that business. Have you ever worked in the food service business before?
In the what?
In the food service business?
Food service, yes. For a tiny, and I do mean tiny time, like a month, maybe 4 weeks. And I resigned.
I always say that if you have, everybody should at least work at one retail or food service business like at least one time in their life and really learn how difficult it is to work making food for motherfuckers or doing things for motherfuckers, because people are so rude doing that. And I mean, shit, we work in customer service, you know what I mean? So just to deal with the other end of that, I think people are so, for lack of a better word, entitled to shit. You know what I mean? Like everybody's so entitled. Oh, well, I thought I was like, dude, you're not entitled to this. This is what if you read it. Well, can you just, you know what I mean? Like, that's why even when I get on and I have a dispute with any customer service person, I try not to get to the point where I'm like really getting upset and angry. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some customer service agents that deserve to get cursed out. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's just some of them, we be like, you be trying to be nice to them and they be trying to talk down to you like you're stupid. But, that's one of the things. And like I said, now, mind you, when this shit is over with, if they didn't take advantage of this time of trying to find themselves and find a new hustle, they're going to be fucked anyway. So why the fuck are you worried about it? You can't hear me, can
Say
you?
something? Huh?
Hello? Hello?
No. You're
All right.
bye.
Oh, that was interesting. Anyway, back to what we were talking. Well, yeah,
Technical difficulties.
technical difficulties all day. You know, it's hard. It's hard trying to get out getting content. Hard getting out content. But
Right.
but you know, that's crazy though. Like I was thinking about what you just said about why do people complain about people what other people are doing and not really worrying about what they're not doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares if somebody else is getting money off of unemployment? What if you that mad, quit the job and get unemployment yourself? Worried about what people are doing with their time and with their money.
Because they damn sure gonna want it when it's their time.
Exactly. You know what? And I do now. I'm not. I've been looking at I've been on Facebook a lot, and I have noticed a lot of people though who usually don't have no money to do shit have been doing a lot of shit in their life. I'm not. I'm not judging. I think it's a good thing. But they've been doing trips and shit. I think people have been getting up and traveling, doing things that they're not used to doing. And all this is because they have enough money where they can actually live and pay their bills.
Right. Right. And
That's
I'm not mad at them.
me neither. And that's where people like don't understand. Like it's like these people are able to live now and pay their bills. Now, will they be able to do that by September? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But right now, I mean, you know, people don't understand when you grow up in a certain way, especially if you're poor and black. A lot of poor black people don't know nothing more than their city, their neighborhood. Some motherfuckers don't even know more than their block or apartment complex. You know what I
Poor
mean?
people in general. I'm gonna
Poor,
put it out.
not poor people, yeah, but I don't know. I just find like I don't know. It just the opportunities as being a young black person growing up in the ghetto is really less than some who may not have grown up in that. Now there are some motherfuckers out here who don't want to do nothing more than be in a country house and live in the country and don't want to leave the country and they scared to go to the city. But for the most part, a lot of people who want to do things but they can't because of money and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like people have not been able to explore their life, and I do think that during this time, that during this time that people have been unemployed and been getting that unemployment, they were able to explore life a little bit more and explore the world and explore themselves. You know, that all comes in together with the whole, finding your own business situation. You know what I mean? Like, you know what? I worked for this person for a long time. Let me see what I can do as my own business and see if I can make some money on my own. You know what I mean? Now that I have the safety net of I can still pay my bills, but let me branch myself out. You know what I mean? And there's nothing greater than that. I feel like unemployment is used for that reason to make sure that you can get to the next day and be able to find your job or your career without having to worry about how I'm going to pay my bills.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you worried about whether or not this person's on unemployment doing what the fuck ever, getting so much money, not wanting to work at fucking McDonald's? Like, nigga, like, honestly, that should be some shit that motherfucking 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old motherfuckers do. You know, it's a damn shame that you're a grown motherfucker and have to work at McDonald's or Walmart. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing wrong with working at McDonald's or Walmart
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying
at
there's
any age.
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but just to be looking down upon somebody because they don't want to do that shit no more, to be a pauper to you, you know what I mean? They should be able to be like, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is the life I want to live. And it should be good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to explore this. You know, we in this country, we always think that, you work hard or you work a long time, work at the same job. You know what I mean? If you, especially living in Stanley County, I have noticed that there's a certain group of people who seem to get all the good jobs with making the good money. And there's another certain group of people who don't really get all the good jobs. They either working at the store or the McDonald's or the
What group of people we talking about?
What group of, well, living in the Stanley County, I've noticed that most of the people who work for the city and doing city jobs and city stuff like that are mostly white. I mean, point
But
blank.
but we have to go into statistics and like kind of figure out what they went to school for, that type of thing. Because even behind the scenes, like my aunt works for something like that. I can't tell you exactly what her job title is, but I know she did that. But she has like education on top of education. So
No,
I mean, like,
I'm not talking about those high up jobs. I'm talking about like, say for instance, the guy who drives around in the truck all day, shutting people power off and cutting it back on. You don't go to school for that. You get that job. And I'm not. And truth be told, I'm
well, I
not.
mean, I thought you had to go to school a little bit for that because you got to have some type of
No, dude.
um.
I can. I'm not supposed to, but I can tell you right now how you can go. I can tell you right now. I can go in my backyard right now, cut my power off, and cut it back on. It's
Well, I
illegal.
mean, I know it could be done because somebody said that it was done in Albemarle to my power, and I was like, how? Because I wasn't even there then. I know it could be done, but
Yeah,
I think that it's a little bit more to like. I don't think maybe so. Maybe, and I'm just putting it out there. Maybe, um, it's an education thing. Like maybe you have some type of something to get those jobs. And when
I have a,
people get those jobs, I'm pretty sure they're not letting them go. So if
I
you
have
were
a,
the first to get it,
I have
you
a,
know,
I have a friend of mine, and he is black. Um, he works for the city of Troy or whatever county it is, Montgomery County, and
hmm
he does the water for Montgomery County.
hmm
And he's the only black person in the whole job. And
hmm
I'm not saying, and he has no training in none of that shit. But he had when he first started. But here's the thing: I'm not saying that they're getting their job because they're white. Even though being white is a byproduct of you getting into those type of jobs here, it's because getting a good job sometimes it's not about what you know, but who you know.
right,
You know what I mean? So, say for instance, he knew somebody that worked there, and they got him in. But
right,
you know, like I said, it's one of those things where you're right. Or also, once they get them jobs, they're not letting them go. But you talking about
right.
who are in their like most of the people he worked with are in their mid to early 20s, and he's in his mid 40s or early 40s. So
hmm
he looked down and got that. His wife is white too. So anyway,
Well,
um,
I know a lot of people down here, like this is still Stanley County, but I've seen a lot more of our people coming into these positions.
yeah,
So I know people, when people were, this is like in the school system, guidance counselors pretty much have the way of their job. They would keep their job until they retire
yeah,
because you only need like one or two guidance counselors if you're in a small school.
yeah.
So they keep them until they retire. So it's hard for other counselors to come in unless you start a new school or unless that counselor moves away or gets sick or whatever the case may be. So I'm thinking it's the same way with these jobs. I've
I'm
seen a lot more Black people in Norwood working these positions, a lot more so than I've ever seen before
and,
because 10 years ago, it was all white.
and that might be due to the case that certain areas of that area is growing, so they have to open it up. I just know, I just know when you live in a certain area, those type of
Mhm,
jobs, 9 times out of 10 you gotta know somebody. You know what I mean? Because even when I lived in Jersey and where it was all black in those jobs, you still had to know something.
mhm,
Actually, it was mostly Puerto Ricans, but you had to know somebody. It was not one of those jobs that you will get where you can just be like, I'm going to work here today, and you got the job. It was like, okay, I gotta know such and such, and they're gonna put in a good word for me or something like that. You know, what I mean, it's not one of those things where you can just go up there and sign an application and be in and working for the city. And I'm not trying to put a racial aspect of it. I just feel like, in a way, the only reason it's a racial aspect of it is most of the people who always had those jobs were white. So automatically, when those jobs come up, they're going to tell their friends and family most of the time who are white, they get them jobs. Now, I'm not
mhm,
saying that the jobs are not opening up now. They are, but
mhm.
it's still one of those things where there was, it wasn't because, oh, it's not because, oh, I'm not hiring that nigger. It's more of, oh, my cousin needs a job. Let me hook my cousin up. Which, when it comes to black people, Say what you want. We don't do shit like that. Motherfucker, a black person will have a good job. Job could be hiring all day long on the spot. You could be qualified. Your job hiring? Nah, man, my job ain't hiring. You ever go through that?
But that depends. I can attest to that. I can attest to that because if my, like this job, they do hiring how they do hiring. Mm-hmm. And people have asked me, could they get a job? And I put in 2 referrals already, working on another one. Like if you ask me if you want to work, I'm gonna help you try to get a job.
Oh no, but you know, I don't have no problems helping people get a job. My problem was, right. I know other people though. There's other people of us, of black people. You be like, yo, your job hiring? Nah. Then you go look online, like, I just seen your job say it was hiring. Nah, I ain't nothing I can do for you. I can't put in a word in or nothing. You know.
But I think that to me, okay, so I think that's on a person by person basis because some people know the person that they're trying to ask for a job and they know they ain't gonna halfway work and they feel like that's gonna look bad on them. So they be like, nah, I ain't doing it. Not just to tell them the truth, to be like, I'm not helping you get a job because I know how you are and that's not gonna reflect upon me. If that was me, if somebody asked me who I know has a different job, has 5 jobs a year for the past 3 years, I'm gonna be like, look, I know your record with jobs. I'm not going to try to get you on my job. And this is the reason why. I'll just be upfront with them because you're not gonna keep asking me, badgering me about the same question. And I done told you no, go do it yourself. And I'll tell you where to go to get the job. No, I'm gonna tell you straight up front, I am not putting you under my name straight like that because of this. And that's why. Because
I have no problem putting people under my name at a job. That doesn't bother me. Now, mind you, I try to make sure I try to help as much as I can. Now, if your resume doesn't fit, then it just doesn't fit. I mean, you can't say I want to do customer service and all you got is a warehouse background, and then you don't get the job. That's not on
exactly.
You. Your experience doesn't allow you for it. You know what I mean? That's one of those things. But I feel like, and so there's a lot of cases where we can do a little bit better than we're helping each other out when it comes to certain positions. I remember when I used to live in Jersey, I'd be like, I want to work for the hospital. But then my ex-wife, her sister would work there and she would get everybody else working there. Like, how the hell do you get all these people working at their job? Well, they just fill out an application. I've filled out my application at that job for like 10 years and never even got even looked at. I'm glad I didn't work there. But now, it just.
I feel like with my family, I don't know that part of it. Because my family is like this, or the people that I know are like this. If they got openings at their job, guess what? They coming to me, they coming to cousin them, they coming to West College because they want to know, hey, y'all want to work such and such? Da da da. The people on my even in Facebook, they get a position, they go straight on Facebook and post, hey, they hiring at such and such. Who want a job? Let me know. And they start, information.
You know what? It may not be a down south thing, but that's definitely up north thing.
Yeah, you want to work, we gonna make sure your ass is working.
But up north, that's definitely a up north thing because I'm just off of experience on like even working with people. Yeah, my cousin asked me for a job, but after that, part of it is maybe they don't work well. Another part of it is sometimes people don't want to see you want you to do it. Like they can see you down. They like to see you down, and they don't want you to do any better than what you at right there. You know what I mean? Because the worst thing you can do is to try to advance somebody past what you at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I done had plenty of jobs. Now I'm in the customer service niche at the moment because guess what? I've been doing customer service for almost 8 years now. Over 8 years now. So I've been in every aspect of customer service from calling out the people, to receiving calls and selling and all that. So it's something I'm comfortable with. You know what I mean? I can't ask you for a job at a warehouse. I don't got no experience in no warehouse no more. My last job at a warehouse was was a long time ago. You know what I mean? I don't even know how to use the machines no more.
Shoot, my job has been never. I've never worked at where I've never done manufacturing, never done warehouse. All those technical type jobs I have never done. It's always been like working with children,
Mm-hmm.
like what I'm doing now, customer service, or somewhere in somebody's office. I have never done any other job besides that. And that's just where my life has been. I ain't saying that it'll never go to that way, but that's just where I've been at.
It's crazy because I remember when I first left doing the warehouse jobs and started doing office jobs. My first office job was I was a I was a mailroom clerk.
Mhm.
Best job ever, ever, ever. I love that job. I mean, literally, I was about 27, and I've been working warehouses all the time. To this day, that's my favorite job. And basically, I had my day was so planned out. It was easy. I'll go to work, collect all the mail, deliver the mail to the different floors, and then at the end of the day, collect that shit, do a couple of odd jobs, and I would get paid decent money for that shit. It was like back in the day, it was like $10 an hour was good money back in the day. But it was just like that job was so like I'm so not coming home smelling like boxes and sweat, dress nice. You know, I can dress up at the job. You know, do a little talking, do a little flirting a little bit with the office late people. You know, I got real cool with the lunch person downstairs and shit like that. And you know, I got so cool with the dude that owned the little diner downstairs. That mother would give me free food just because I ain't had to pay
Hmm.
for my food. Like literally, like you know. And from then on, I just enjoyed working in offices. I got tired. You know, I had a couple other warehouse slash manufacturing jobs, but I would never really do well with those because you know
Mhm.
it's not that I'm scared of hard work. It's more of I'm not built for that shit no more. Like, you know what I mean? I'm 40 some years old now. I can't be sitting up there lifting up a bunch of pallets. People think you go to the gym. Oh, yeah, you can do this. You go to the gym, you lift weights. Nigga, you talking about lifting weight for like a minute, two, more or less than 5 minutes. And you compare that to going to a fucking job and standing on your feet for 8 hours, 8 to 12 hours, lifting pallets all day long. Fuck that. That's a lot of shit. And I'm not down on nobody who can do it. There's people who do it. That's just not myself.
Yeah.
You know, there's people who I remember I had one job I worked in the office. The girl quit because she said she don't like it. She didn't like working on phones. She didn't like doing
Mm.
customer service because she said she would rather be in her own in a warehouse doing warehouse work.
Because you don't have to talk to nobody. It's a difference if you're an introvert and an extrovert.
Yeah,
Because if you don't like talking to people, then yeah, you probably do better off in a warehouse. Like I'm good with talking to people, but I don't like small talk. So unless we find something that we have in common, baby, it's straight to the point. You want this, you want that, da da da, blah 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 blah. Get off my phone. That's just how I am. Because I mean, I still, I'm still, getting the job done.
yeah.
They just not gonna get no extra from me.
I'm very
Up,
loquacious,
hold on 1 second. I got it. Somebody.
but like I was saying, you know, I'm a Gemini, so I'm very loquacious. I don't really mind talking about small talk, long talk, some talk. You know, I talk a lot, so that's what I do. You know, so I kind of embrace the talking jobs.
I,
You know,
I I can get it. I'm with it. I guess I was more in depth to talking when I first had the other job,
yeah,
but not so much um now, I guess you could say.
yeah,
Because I just be wanting to because I'm at my house for one. And so it's kind of like I got other stuff going on here, there, and everywhere.
hmm
Have the extra kids here. And I'm just like, look, what you need? Okay, I got it. It's done. Have a good day. And they just be like, I know this one girl was talking, talking. and I was talking back, whatever. And I'm just like, girl, shut up, so I can go get you off this phone.
I feel you on
So
that.
but that's just me. That's just me.
You know what though? I do say this though. When I first started doing customer service, because most of the jobs I had was clerical, like filing and you know and data entry and shit like that. So when I started doing customer service 8 years ago, I didn't. I had even though I was able to talk to people, I was always scared to talk to people. You know what I mean? Like I was still in a shell. And
Hmm.
I think the best thing that happened to me, honestly, was when I moved down here. The only job that was available was working in this place called, I ain't gonna say the name of the place, but working in this call center in on Florence. And while working in there, I was able to. I had to go outside of myself at the time and really be an
Hmm.
extrovert. When most of the time, even though when you get to know me, I was an extrovert, but I was always like I always began as an introvert. Now I'm more extroverted now, where I talk to more people, and people like me and other people really enjoy our company together. You know what I mean? That's a gift and a curse because it can get me in trouble too. But you know, people look at me like, "Oh wow, you're very talkative. You're very understanding." Like I've always been like that because people are always drawn to talk to me. It's just that as time came along, you know, I was able to really use that to the best of my abilities right now. So I think learning doing customer service really brought out that aspect of my personality that was
Hmm.
always hidden, you know. So I feel like that's one thing because if you had told me 15, 20 years ago, I'll be on the phone talking to people, I'll be like, get the fuck out of here. I ain't doing that shit. That's on my fucking nerves. Shit, I remember people like, you want a job? I do customer service. My sister used to tell me that shit. I was like, I don't want that. Now look at me. That's what I do. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, and you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. That's the one thing that getting, I'm very good at doing right now. That's why I like doing this. I like talking. I like expressing what the hell is on my mind at the times on my mind and saying shit, And the one thing I do hate about doing customer service jobs is the fact that you gotta be scripted. I hate that shit. Like, and even when they say no, you don't have to be scripted, it still have to be scripted. You know what I mean? Like the one,
Right.
like say their name this many times, say this, say that. Don't forget to say this. Don't forget to like, have a happy attitude. Oh, shut the fuck up. You know, and I don't feel like that's relatable to people. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like with a customer service job, you always get a vibe on how the call is from the first 10 seconds of the call. Like,
Hmm.
if the person going to get on the phone and be like, blah, 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 and they're going to talk to you and they want to have a little conversation with you while they're talking. And then the other calls, you need to just get to your fucking business and get the fuck off the phone. That's all they want to hear.
You can kind of gauge. There's a lot of
Yeah.
times
And I feel like,
who, what,
yeah,
feel what you about.
and I feel like the way jobs, like customer service jobs, do it, they don't really allow you to gauge what the situation is. You know what I mean? Because when somebody get on the phone and be like, "Hey, how you doing? Too? Hey, you having a good day today? How's everything? How's the weather?" You already know they're going to want to have a conversation with you. Then,
Right.
then the next one will get on the phone. Yeah, my numbers is blah 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 blah. And I was wondering, you already know they want to know what the fuck they want and get the fuck off the phone as fast as possible. They're busy.
Right.
You know what I mean? But sometimes the job be like trying to get you that extra, gotta do that extra shit just to make sure. We'll put it
I
on.
notice a lot of times
Yeah,
though, like, because you get phone calls like this job, you get phone calls from all over, but the ones that are from Boston or anywhere near, I guess any part of Boston or maybe Massachusetts, but mainly Boston,
Boston.
that maybe there, them people are like, I guess they hear that Southern drawl. I guess I have a Southern drawl. I have no idea, but they hear my voice and they're like, oh, she gonna be slow. So let me go ahead and do blah, 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 blah. And so they're sitting there telling me what to do. And I already got the job pretty much almost done. And they're like, no, 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 no. I'm like, it's done. Would you, there anything else I can help you with? Have a nice day. And I get them off the phone because like most of the time if you're calling in for something in particular, and you haven't given me, they're like, well, do you have the order number? And I'm like, I don't need the order number. Like I'm almost done.
Yeah.
Like get off my phone.
You
And
know
then I
what?
talk junk about you for the next 3 seconds before I get another phone call. Because
And not to take, if you're from Boston, you listening to us, ain't nothing against you personally, but y'all motherfuckers. Ooh. And this is not like, I have had multiple jobs talking to people from Massachusetts and the New England area. I don't know why. If anybody want to comment on this, Why are people from New England so ignorant? Like, oh my goodness. They can be so like rude, and like I have no problems with, I have no problems with people from North Carolina, New Jersey, California, Nebraska, Chicago,
California, New Orleans, New York.
And don't get me wrong, there are people everywhere that's rude. Don't get me wrong. Everywhere you talk to somebody, there's going to be one or two rude people, but it seems like the majority of rude people come from Boston.
And it's consistent.
It's very consistent. The second most is Florida. Florida, yeah, people from Florida are very rude too.
I haven't had like rude people from Florida. Yeah. I've had flirtatious people from Florida, like a lot of flirtatious people.
See, that depends though. Like, all right, so if you got somebody calling from, say, Miami or South Beach, or not South Beach, South Florida, South Florida, I'm gonna give you some information. But when you get people calling from South Florida, they're flirtatious, they kind of nice, they kind of laid back. You get people from like Central Florida and like North Florida, some of them people are like, what used to get me was
I've had from all over. They're nice to me.
Some of the men.
I don't know.
Now, I ain't gonna lie. The women from like Atlanta, especially Atlanta. Atlanta and Kentucky. I don't know what it is about Atlanta and Kentucky. I talk to them boys. Woo, they don't like they be like they be in. Woo, they used to love it.
I like the voices from Louisiana, but I'm still not gonna talk to you all day. Like I'm still gonna get your stuff done and get you off the phone because I like for my day to go fast, and it seems very slow when I sit up here and I talk and talk and talk. If I'm not doing something consistently, I'm just like boom, 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 knock it out and be done with it because I want to get off the phone. That's just me. And I guess the other job that we worked at kind of prepared me for that because that was the just do your work and get off the phone. So, and I'm kind of just taking that with me. So, ACW is still not, my ACW is still not like a 14 like some people are. I still don't understand how that is. Go ahead.
Just to bring that up, I'll talk to my man today. That's kind of why I brought up the subject of being your own boss, because he worked for the same job, and he was talking about how, it's a girl that was on our team, and she's burnt out, and her ACW was like 14 seconds. Like, I don't know how you can do it 14 seconds to call, because one mother's call came back to back to back to back. 14 seconds? That is ridiculous. So
I ain't doing it.
I need at least 30 seconds, and I might need it about 2 minutes, to be honest with you, on some calls. But, the calls were coming back to back to back to back to back. And they told her doctor told her, like, she need to be on bed rest because her job is stressing her out. And I can't do it like that, because that type of stress, I can't do it. Like, what I mean?
I refuse.
But that's why, truth be told, that's why I be looking for I used to look for some of those long calls, those calls where you be working for a long, like you be talking about nothing for a long time. Since they don't have an average handle time, it didn't really matter. Like, I'd rather sit there, like, that was like my break of like, look, I'm gonna just talk to this person for a little bit and then get them off the phone. You know what I mean? But like, to go back to back to back to back, especially when you got, where's my truck? 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 Oh my God, that won't know that.
I calm them down so fast. Those calls don't last but like a minute for me, because I'm like, I do the calm them down real fast. You're not gonna rush me, and I'm not gonna rush you. But I'm gonna tell you this right here: this is what it is, and this is what you're gonna have to live with, because there's nothing I can do about it. And guess what? There's nothing you can do about it. So guess what? We just gonna have to deal with what we have to deal with. Okay. Have a good day.
That's the part of communications that I don't have yet. You know what I mean? I don't have
Oh,
I don't have the whole
I should have known.
I don't have the whole I'm gonna shut it down type situation in my mind, because a lot of times they be talking, I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to find out what's wrong. No. But that just brings me to my point of being back to the point of being in a field of service. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times people don't know how to treat people because they've never been in the field of service. They've always been entitled. So once you get that entitlement out of them, you're pretty good.
Mhm.
Even though most of the time you speak to mostly people who are in business, in the food service business, so that's crazy. But yeah, but for the most part though, it's just even with that still, I just see that people are trying to find ways out of getting their stress, or like get out of doing things that would, like, I don't know. I don't feel like this is something I would want to do for the rest of my life. And now when I'm not, I can see myself doing this, something like this for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Talking about shit. I can be on the phone, and I think I could be 70 years old still talking shit. You know what I mean? But like but doing call center work at 70, I don't know if I can still do that shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't have the patience for it. You know, and as I get older, my patience gets less and less.
Well, I feel like having a little bumper job in between, like, of your businesses
Mhm.
until your business takes off is a good thing, because at least you still have money coming in
And that
while you're, you know.
and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with working and having money coming in as you build yourself up. That's why I don't understand why people get mad about people on unemployment, because there's nothing wrong. If you're doing your unemployment the way you're supposed to be doing it or the way you should do it, you should be able to live off of it. Like you should be able to find out what your next move is going to be. You know what I mean? It's about
Well, I don't know how people are using their unemployment, because I haven't had unemployment in so long. So I don't know how people are using theirs, but I can tell you this. Um, Even however they're using it, it's still not my business to even worry or be concerned
I know,
about their unemployment. So,
I know,
like,
but
if you got it, I'm happy for you, because that means you ain't got to borrow money from somebody else when
mhm,
you don't even have money to, pay somebody back.
mhm.
That's a good thing, in my opinion.
It's better
You
than
still
begging.
making it.
Yeah, well, I don't know why certain people get mad about, and I'm going to say certain people because it's not really a racial thing, more or less a class thing. But I don't know why certain people get mad about people using the system to survive. I never understood about how people get mad about people on food stamps, on housing. Would you rather them be homeless? You rather them not eat? You know what I mean? Like,
They would. They would. That's
and
why they say the things they say. They
that's
say, "Oh, I want you to get up and work. Pull yourself up from your bootstraps, and I want you to work. I know
that's
you're homeless and you have a home and water and nothing to wash your ass with, all that good stuff. You don't have to eat. You just need to work."
you know what? That's a bullshit. That's a bullshit on philosophy. Only reason I say that is because like people who say that shit most of the times are people who have in history been bailed out or their job has been bailed out. We work in an economy full of bailouts and tax cuts for people. You know, people are being bailed out all the time. So to say pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you got $1 billion companies who are not being pulled, who are not pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. You know what I mean? But you as an individual, you gotta pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's ridiculousness.
They still have that old way of thinking, though,
But
that
that always,
somebody else taught them that, and they're still carrying it on. But I'm just like, okay, you do that.
but that
You
always
you do
thinking is false though. Like it's not real. Like it's not. It's a lie. When you hear people say, "Oh, yeah, back in the 40s and 30s and 50s, we put no." There were all kinds of subsidized programs that was happening back then. People forget about that. Those loans they were getting given out for businesses and farmers and shit like that. And like remember when the economic stimulus plan came out in I think late February, early March, and people were upset because it said people of color got going to get certain benefits from these loans, and like there were people who were upset like we're not getting them. Why you got people? Because back in the day, these same people of color were not qualified to get these loans or get these grants due to their color. Some of that's trivial as their color, they were not able to get that. So now they're able to get it. So to say that your family and you grew up and we pulled ourselves up by the bootstraps and we just worked hard and that's bullshit. And don't ever let nobody tell you that nothing more than that. That is some bullshit. Period. But I like I said, these programs are here to help people out. These are the same people who say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, are the same people who say, I don't believe in abortion. It's killing life. So you would rather have that life come here and starve to death? Have this life come in here.
They're not adopting children either. They're not adopting children.
Exactly.
They're just like, you need to have a child. You need to. It's like they want the worst. It's just kind of like you saying. And then my argument would be to those people. So you want for your children and grandchildren and all those to never have an abortion, never get any type of subsidies, and if they fall on hard times, you want them to have a child in poverty, and you want them to struggle with that child in poverty. You know how hard it is to get out of poverty? Like, it's fucking hard to get out of poverty. So your lineage where you were up here has now dwindled down to here. It's hella easy to get from the top to the bottom, but trying to pull yourself up from the bottom to the top is not no easy feat. So,
and I try to stay away from the racial content until right now. When I hear white people say black people need to pull themselves up, black people need to stop being lazy, which is amazing considering the fact that we were brought here to work. You know what I'm saying?
right.
When you're faced with certain economic things, and don't get me wrong, everything about black people ain't, everything black people do ain't the greatest, but when you're faced with certain economic situations in your life where, you're born to a poor family in the ghetto and your opportunities of seeing things and being around things are not as much as somebody who is around that thing. I don't care what the family situation is, because you always hear about nuclear family. You have a nuclear family don't mean you're going to be stopped being poor. It's not a way of stopping being poor. Nuclear family just means your dad and mom is in the house. And I always feel like people, and this is my personal opinion, me and you both grew up in a nuclear family per se, where the mom and dad was in the house with us, what I mean? But in my own opinion, I feel like that thought of having a nuclear family is a little bit overrated. You know what I mean? I feel like at the end of the day, the children should be happy, and there should be peace in your house. Just because you got the mom and dad living in the same house doesn't mean that's very conducive of a child growing up in a good environment,
Right.
You always blame bad environments on single parents, but we don't really examine the parents,
Right.
And I don't, like I said, I'm not going to speak on myself because I grew up with my dad for most of my life. I know who my dad is, my dad, is I'm not the stereotypical black man when it comes to my family life. But would I have rather my dad not live with us with the hell that we went through with him in the house? Hell yeah. My dad was a motherfucker. My dad used to cause all kinds of drama in my motherfucking house. Why would I want him to live with us? I used to think to myself all the time, Mom, just leave this man. But, it just didn't happen. But I know people would say, well, at least you had your dad in your life. And I used to look at them like, at least you didn't have to deal with the bullshit I had to deal with in my life. Not being able to go to sleep and shit like that. So like I feel like if you got one parent or if you got two parents to take care of the children and love the children, they don't have to live together or be together. They just taking care of the kids. And to me, I feel like, growing up in a nuclear family was always something that I felt was overrated at all times. Like it was an overrated experience for me. So when I used to hear people say that shit, I'm like, that's overrated.
Yeah.
You
All
know,
I know is I grew up in a two-parent household. Um, everything was, fair, whatever. But I think with a two-parent household, you have a backup person, you have an extra person. So it's kind of like you feel like if you don't hit the subject, they're gonna hit the subject. But sometimes nobody hits the subject,
exactly,
and the child is left in the middle. With a
exactly.
single parent household, right? For me, right now with my kids, I feel like I have to hit both subjects, both aspects of it, and I grind it. Like I it's not just a one lesson thing. Like my parents, like we talked about sex and that type of thing when I was growing up. It was
Yeah,
a one time thing, and you were expected to remember that for the rest of your life. Well, no. With my kids, it started at this age. I built it a little bit, this the next age, then on to the next and the next, the next. And we just kept going because I felt like I'm a single parent and I need to make sure that my children understand this is what's expected and this is what you need to do. And if you do it without over going past the expectation, that you're safe, that you're doing things the right way. And so I talk to my kids all the time. A lot of times I feel like it's just going in one ear and out the other,
yeah,
honest to truth. But that's just what you got to do as a parent. And I feel like when the parents are not loving and they're not on one accord, that's when things get slipped. Like you have to literally, it's not a book to being a parent. I'll give you that. There's not a book, there's not a rule book, there's not directions, none of that. But if you decide on what your household is going to be, and
mhm,
you're in a two-parent household, and you sit down and you talk to your significant other, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to raise our kids, and blah blah blah. I feel like that's kind of goals that you're trying to reach instead of just winging it, like
yeah,
winging it. I don't
yeah,
feel like in my growing up there was consistency, and I try to be consistent, but keep in terms. I'm not a product of consistency,
yeah.
so me doing it, it seems out of water, even though I've been doing it for a while now. But I'm still, working on it. I can still continue to do what I do. Um, as far as, two-parent households, I mean, I'm not gonna say I do say you have an extra person, but I mean, I know a lot of two-parent households that seem like one parent is doing all of this, the other parent is doing all of that, and there's no crossing, there's no cross
I mean,
cross in the middle.
I'm not saying that a two parent household can't work. I'm just saying that it's not the end all be all of everything that you need.
Mhm.
Almost like, I'm good to say, I'm always saying this, and I'll still say that when it comes to life, there's no real rules to life. You know what I mean? It's just what you want to do and what you don't want to do. You know what I mean? And consequences. But there are no rules of life. And just because it works out some better for some people to be in a two parent household, that may not be the case for you and yours. Um, I just feel like in a two parent household, if you got two people in the house, but the house is not peaceful, what's the use of having two people in the house?
Right.
That's not solving or really growing people up or into a great environment. That's just saying, oh, I got my mom there, or you know, that's like people in a relationship. Just because you got a man at home doesn't mean that that's the end all be all of your happiness. Just because you got a house, you don't have to. That's not the be all of. I'm happy because I got this man in my house or I got this woman in my house. You know what I mean? You're not happy with that. People are not happy with just just because you have somebody with you doesn't make you happy. Your happiness comes from what the environment is like. So if you have a good environment, the kids are going to grow good. If you have a bad environment, I don't give a damn. You got a parent, the grandparents, all living in the same house. If the environment is bad, 9 times out of 10, the kids gonna be bad. And what's even worse is, guess what? sometimes the kids are just bad, and there's nothing you can do about it. I think I got this mic too high. You know?
I always feel like there's something. If you have bad kids, it's a reflection of what you're doing with them. And I'm just going to put it that way because I know my kids are not saints. I know my kids are not innocent. I know they cut up, but that's a reflection of how they're being raised. And I don't put it past myself or any other parent. Like, you have to, the whole thing of being a parent is you raise your kids, you do the best you can with them. And then guess what? You don't find out if you fucked up until after they're grown. So, I mean, after, your children might need therapy right now, but they might not get therapy till they're 25. So you just kind of have to work with what you're working with.
But that's the thing, though. Like I said before, like no rules to this. There's no, like you said earlier, there's no guidebooks to this shit. Even when you go to kids, every child is different. Where one child may need, another child may not, and you gotta feel your way through all that. So, like I said, it's not something that you have to make a good community. Is to have a bunch of people, just to have a nuclear household. I know I heard Candace Owens talking about that. And I'm like, nah, that's not true. Well, I enjoyed our conversation today. We talked about a lot of subjects. We had little technical difficulties and things like that, but hopefully we can get out some more content to you. I always forget to say this in the beginning of the show. Gotta learn to say it. But please like, subscribe, share, whatever they say to do. Hit that like button, thumbs up. Hit the alert button if you want to hear anything of us coming up. We are going to be placing more videos and stuff like that, and we're going to keep on working at it and keep on getting better at it. So this is Tyler Mara, and she is
Two Winters.
And this is Talking Shit with TNT. I know I said it, she usually do, so I'm going to let her end it off.
And we out.
There we go.